Hey everybody, welcome back to FBS episode 22. I'm joined today by B. Swigglehausen.
Hello.
And Strict Toaster.
Hello, hello.
And today we are going to work on this fuel depot and fuel refueling facility on the other side of the runway over there. I think we marked this out like way early in the episode, or way early in the project, right? Like,
Are you actually going after that label I created?
Yeah, I was. I mean, you put it there like forever ago.
That was like on episode
Is that
3.
where you wanted me to build it? I built the whole thing there. I hope.
No, that's because I think at some point Jay said he wanted to do it elsewhere, if I'm not mistaken.
I have no
But I
idea.
did that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Well,
but I did that back on like episode 3 when we thought that we're gonna be done in another round after that. So.
I thought this was like official labeling. I just kind of went for it. I hope that was in the right spot.
I think some of the labeling has been moved since, but this one I guess is in the
right.
right place.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad that worked out. I mean, luckily it's very easy to move stuff and move into that nowadays, so it's not like a big deal to nowadays. Well, I mean, think about it. A year ago, this would have been a pain to move if you wanted to move it, but
Yeah, that's actually very true.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I think that we should talk a little bit about the future of FBS, because we were kind of mentioning this a little bit off camera.
We have some announcements.
That's
We
right.
do have some announcements. Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about kind of the scope and the length of this project. Obviously, it's gone way longer than more than 3 times longer than we initially planned. So it has been a long project. That's like an understatement. It's been a very long project, but we've sort of been like trying to figure out like how many episodes it would take to really get all of like the basic stuff, kind of the main stuff that we had planned in the scope of this project done. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're finally at the point where a single round, 3 more episodes, will be enough to finish off this whole, the scope of the project we were looking for. So this is my...
I was going to say, welcome to the beginning of the end, people.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is it right here. This is the last round. So this is my last episode. And obviously that means I had a lot of things, like anything that I wanted to do in this project. It's like, all right, well, I guess I got to do it pretty much right now. So I'm building this, obviously this fuel depot, but we have, I think, 2 more episodes then after this one with Strict and one with Jay. And then we'll be pretty much done with FBS. But we did want to do something kind of special. We want to do something kind of interesting for the end of the series. We hadn't really all gotten a chance to meet up before. That was one of the sort of incentives behind this. But we thought it'd be really cool to do like an in-person live stream, right? Is that kind of the gist of this whole idea?
So we're going to be finishing this thing all in the same room, and hopefully it's going to be kind of almost on schedule. I think we're going to have to do it on like a Saturday or something, but it's going to be like a full day live stream event spectacular where Strict and I are flying out to UFlux in Salt Lake City. And
Flux Studios.
To fabulous Flux Studios.
There's a theme park attached to it too, right?
Beautiful.
Of course,
that's what I've been told.
God, that I was in already, but now there's a theme park.
Now you're really in.
Yeah. But anyway, it's going to be hopefully a lot of fun. We hope to have you there. So clear your calendars for whatever the weekend will be. I think it's like
I think it's the 24th, 25th, something like that.
This is the
we're gonna be releasing more details as we get closer to the date. So
right now it's still very tentative. Like, we haven't booked tickets or anything yet. It's still just like, man, that'd be a really cool thing to do, huh? So block your calendars, but put it as like a TBD, like a tentative. Right, you want to make sure you don't want to end up double booked, but at the same time,
of course,
don't
just be safe and just block out the whole month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Every weekend between now and the end of 2018, just to be really careful.
Just to be really safe.
Just given our estimations, how inaccurate they are.
Obviously bad. Yeah.
So
notoriously bad.
In any case, yeah. So I'm getting really excited for that. We'll let you know. We'll start drip feeding you guys the details in the next couple episodes, just to make sure that you guys are all watching all of them and are subscribed. Right? This is the final test to make sure that you're loyal to FBS. And of course, there will be a quiz once we're all done.
Yeah.
You can't even watch the stream unless you answer 90% on the quiz. Yeah.
That'd be actually really fun. Sorry to. I think that would be a really cool idea.
Well,
and just only 2 people will be able to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to our viewership of both big fans of FBS, I guess.
What's funny is that if we do that quiz between us, even us will be out of.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we'd be able to watch.
Yeah, I think that our audience probably knows more than we do about some of this stuff, to be honest.
Well, did you know that you should only have pipes coming out of the left-hand side of these fuel tanks?
Is that really true?
No.
Okay, I'm glad because I was about to be very upset. Seriously though, I wouldn't know. Like, that would have been frustrating. But
anyway, yeah. So look forward to this potential future live stream. I think even if we can't all get in the same place, I think we're still going to end this with a live stream, just in the traditional sort of way.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. So block out your calendar for a cool weekend live stream, but hopefully we'll all be in the same place and be able to do cool stuff.
Yeah, hopefully so. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the episode because we kind of haven't really mentioned.
I mean,
that
maybe
much.
If we have time, I don't know.
Maybe so. I don't know.
Whatever.
So what I decided to do for this refueling area, I noticed there wasn't really much on the workshop in terms of things like this. Like maybe a gas station would have been like kind of fitting, but most of them are pretty, themed towards specifically like an actual gas station and don't really look too generic, which would fit better for this. So what I did is built this entire thing out of props. I used those corrugated concrete pieces from Vasmir for the roof. I used those monorail like overhanging like double-decker light supports. I think is that what they're supposed to be for? Like
I think those. Yeah, when I was seeing those, I was gonna say I think those support the monorail over road pillars from the monorail networks.
Right. Because they have lights on them too underneath, so they obviously are supposed to be like double-decker of some sort. I also used 2 of those little like roof access doors facing each other to create this little concrete piece here, and then I put a little info panel and a little gasoline pipe so we could have like things look a little bit like pumps. And I kind of liked the whole end result. Actually, I thought it was kind of neat. I even have those little concrete curbs on the top to kind of make the roofing look less like corrugated concrete and more like an actual roof.
You know what? I think there's actually a vanilla asset that does this. Like obviously yours is a billion times better and bigger too, but I think part of the oil industry section of the game, I think has like a cargo thing for like fueling trucks, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, actually. It would have looked very industrial in comparison.
Yeah.
But
and also super tiny.
That's true. Yeah, there's some like very specific little pieces of this build that look a lot like they're kind of distinct in fueling facilities that I just kind of wanted to capture. So I tried to make one myself, and I think that kind of was nice. I think that was like worth time in the props, even though there were a lot of props used in this episode, as you're obviously witnessing right now. I think we were talking about this earlier, right? It was like 52,000 props is what we're at right now, so maybe a couple thousand props in this episode. But again, since we're going up towards the end of the last few episodes, it's not a big deal to use some more props here and there. But also we should mention that as you might have noticed already, these fueling stations are a little bit close to the taxiways, and I'm gonna move them away a little bit later. I was kind of just really focused on like lining all of this up with the other side. Like the whole fuel storage facility has like pipes that are going directly across, so I wanted to have it like nice and lined up, and I was kind of focused on like that, and also on just kind of how I was going to place everything, that I didn't really realize how close I was to taxiways. So I'll use Move It to move all this stuff. It's not very hard to move things, and I think I move it once like later on, but I'm going to go off camera after this and move it again so that it's actually in a safe
close
location. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is dangerously close. Like, we absolutely need to have this moved back a little bit. But I think that when the decals come in, this is when this whole area really comes to life. I really like the Warren decals for like the tire wear and stuff.
Can we talk about how awesome those pipes look?
Oh yeah,
they're network based, right?
Yeah, they are network based. That's a bad idea, right? Mm-hmm. Who did those? Yeah, those are seriously incredible. It's so much easier now to add like big networks of pipes everywhere than it used to be. Like, I don't know if you guys remember using, there's a pipe set. It was really early on. I think it was like those gray pipes with the orange little brackets and supports. Do you guys ever use those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were tough because I think they conform to terrain too. So
that's what I was going to ask you. Like,
them.
are you sunking this against the ground?
Yeah, these are sunken because they're networked, they're node based. So, obviously they can go into the ground.
But they don't force the terrain underneath to be flat either. Like,
No,
how
they
does
don't.
that work?
Yeah, they don't conform to terrain, which is incredible, by the way. Because
it's an option in the network making.
Yeah,
Nice.
Which is great. So as they're set up right now, when you draw them, they're purely just straight lines that go to like from node to node. So if I take one node and put it into the ground, it'll just sink into the ground with it, which is kind of nice.
Very cool.
Moving into the fueling station again, you might notice that I'm kind of going back and forth here at this point. I wanted to have like all the buildings and everything kind of laid out, like layout wise, before I started adding all the details. So now we're sort of getting into the detailing at this point, but this is where we're getting back to what I was talking about earlier. It was just really hard to make all of this concrete look like it's not just like a big flat gray piece. Like it just looks kind of, especially when you zoom out. So I wanted to have some kind of dynamic aspects to this design so it looks a little bit more interesting. And something that I noticed is that a lot of what they do in JFK in particular, actually around these areas where they have this like refueling facility, is they have a lot of the same concrete, or it's actually asphalt at JFK, but they have like pretty much all the same asphalt for like the refueling area and then the roads and everything around it. And so the only thing that's really separating it is like some kind of curbs and some fencing and light posts and stuff. So I tried to do the same sort of thing over here. I outlined everything in curbs, and then I'm going to go back and add some parking and stuff like that. But I think that this definitely makes this whole area look a lot nicer. It kind of divides up the concrete areas, and it also kind of defines the edges of all these streets around here. So
that's kind of the problem. It's really nice that we're using the CNU concrete, which is very plain and doesn't carry a lot of detail, because it means it never looks like wrong. But it means that we have to take a lot of work to make it not look like smooth gray paint.
Do you know if there's like a limit to the size of the decals that you can add with like the new decal mod that's like the big decals?
The big decals? I don't know. I'd imagine people in the comments will know, or people who are messaging me on Discord or whatever would know. But
I'm sure there is a limit, but the problem is that they despawn.
Exactly.
When you look.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh.
You can do as big as you'd like, but it'll despawn from a certain angle, and the decal draw distance is not particularly far. So if if we said like, let's make a map-sized decal, and sure, it'll be a million tries, but it's just one giant map-sized decal that'll get us all the decoration we need. It'll despawn when you scroll, like, slightly zoom out. It'll disappear.
That has been
plain.
That has been one of the biggest challenges
Yep.
in general with this particular project, having so many huge empty areas, quote unquote empty, because in real life, if you look at any airport on Google Maps, there's just a ton of detail.
Yep.
That's not entirely doable in the game unless you add a lot of decals, and even those are only visible when you get really, really close. So it's definitely been a challenge. I mean, Uflex have been doing a lot of brushes with sand and like using sort of the theme to get details, but other than that, it's been a challenge for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe like a giant prop would be like a better alternative. Like that you could, or it had to be a building, right? Because the buildings you can have like further draw distances than everything else, I think.
You can do that with props as well. So I mean, the ploppable asphalt doesn't despawn from far away, which is why, like when we were talking about me doing my maintenance hangar, it's a mix of some decals, a lot of ploppable asphalt, some networks. I was using the parking lot roads as just big wide patches of asphalt, because those have so much wonderful like texture and everything on them. Like that has, and you can align them the right way, so you can have the stains and everything follow the right paths. And like, I mean, maybe someday, and I doubt it'll happen in time for FBS, and I know that there are some like hard-coded game issues with it. We might get some custom runways and taxiways that have these sorts of stains and right textures and looks on them, which, man, that would have saved you so much time, Strict.
Yeah, for sure.
To have them all set up, but yeah.
But even just like like just the like tire marks and stuff alone would be like a really big jump. And I think we were talking off camera about this, right? There's like a couple like skid marks that just came out on the workshop.
I just posted a link on our Discord.
Yep.
Yeah.
Distance has made them, and they just came out like a day or two ago when we were recording this. By the way, everybody, if you haven't seen, Distance is doing a really cool airport series right now, but I think his is a slightly smaller airport, but with a city around it too. So if you want that sort of stuff, and if you're looking forward to us building the city around FBS, which was
you can have the cake.
It was never really part of the project. We just wanted to build a giant airport in a nice mini series. And
mini.
Oops. But anyway, it was
the key word there.
The scale of the airport also kind of prevents a big city around it. So we imagined it basically being mostly like the positioning of Denver, where it's like a newer kind of airport, but way out on the outskirts of some city, rather than like woven into a city that's grown around it or whatever. So no city in this series, but again, Distance channel, the Grunstadt International Airport it's a really cool build. I've been unashamedly ripping stuff that I've seen in that off.
Nice.
I mean, hey, I see it and it's like, that's a great technique for doing this. So I'm not going to sit there and try to figure out a different way to do it when he's done all the hard work for me.
All right, well, getting back to the episode, because we're kind of getting towards the end now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the sort of finishing touches of not only the fuel storage facility, but also the other side as well. I just noticed, especially in JFK, and I think other airports that have like outskirts areas that are like a little bit older and they've kind of been around for a long time, there's just all of these little section off areas around the roads where I guess there used to be like things stored in a big concrete area, or there used to be, maybe even buildings there that got kind of ripped down, but there's just big concrete patches that have kind of overgrowth going on. And I wanted to recreate that because it definitely adds a lot to the outer areas, kind of near things like fuel depots or whatever else, all these outer pieces to the airport that you don't necessarily get to be close to as a passenger on a plane. But that overhead view definitely looks a lot better when you have a lot of these little components coming into play. So you can see that I did a little bit of that on different parts of this, and I cut out a lot of it as well. We'll kind of go back to it when we start adding the foliage and stuff a little bit later on, but a lot of that inspiration came from there. I also, you might have just noticed, added in a little gate over there to enter this area from the backside. It's the same road that Srikosha, you put down in your episode with the big cargo freight terminal area, but that road does connect over to here as well, and then I connected it back all the way around to, I think that was like the train station that we had built at one point. Like that's like a secondary piece of that station, right?
The depot,
you
mean?
Yeah, the depot. Yeah, because it doesn't actually stop there; it just goes through there, and that's where, right? That was that was built a while ago.
I think that's actually something that might be worth touching it during this live stream thing we're gonna do, because I feel like that's sort of like, those are the details that sort of connect all these different projects that we've been working in isolation to some degree. Especially, I was just thinking that we never added any more bus lines where we have, and by bus lines I mean like the ones with the airport related vehicles.
Yeah, the fake stuff.
Yeah, I think that might be worth doing during the live stream as well.
No, that's totally true. So we'll probably come back and revisit a lot of these little things in the live stream. But the goal with these last 3 episodes is to tackle like the biggest projects that are left. So doing this fuel depot now, and then we've got a few other little things to finish. Obviously, Srikosha has to finish up his cargo facility, and then we also have Terminal 1 that's still not finished. But really, from there, it'll just be kind of the fine-tuning and the rest of all that. So anyway, like I mentioned before, we will be moving the location of this this whole refueling station. It's obviously very close to the taxiways, so that'll happen off camera. But aside from that, I think we're pretty much at the end of this episode now, so hope you all enjoyed this one. Be sure to check back on Beast Wheelhausen's channel next Friday for episode 23. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.